Okay, this is last video. It's 5:14. 5:14. We're going to be finished at 6:15. Right now it's 5:14. Let's see. We're going to wrap up the Daphne story. I wanted to catch up how I got into the that just little real estate, like being in the streets for like a week walking around and then like closing that first deal off of one of the first clients I got. But just like when you're hungry, like when I meet those people, I don't tell them, "Hi, my name is Shaz and I'm sleeping on the street. I need your commission. Otherwise, I just didn't have a backup plan. I don't have, my parents didn't have much money. My friends don't have much money. Uh, yeah, Addie and I weren't really talking at the time. It took us a while to cool off of that shit and other stuff to go on, but we'll catch up with that. That's why I guess we have a lot of stuff that's happened over the last couple of years, so we have like 5 days and 6 hours a day to talk about it. But but we but yeah, but it worked. And they're like, they love their apartment. They wrote me a good review. I was starting to collect my reviews, starting to put them on my website, starting to build my website, starting to think about. I talked earlier. I was thinking about pitching Bond New York on being their digital marketing person, realizing how the digital marketing was like, wow, this whole industry is changing over. Because I would think about that when I was doing insurance for my folks. I always like try to look at the macro picture, just the. That's why I got into politics, and I like politics because I feel morally it's what I should be doing, but oh, my eyes are hurting from looking at the screen for 5 or 6 hours. That's another thing. It's like I'm looking at myself, and it's a lot of light shining at your eyes. So I'm gonna have like bloodshot red eyes. I'm gonna do this week because I have to. This is what's keep my promise to myself. But yeah, definitely. My eyes all. I fucking look stoned now. Fuck, I wish, right? Smoked the last of my weed this weekend. I had a little bit left from Slap City. Smoked it in an apple. I'm going way back. I didn't smoke in high school, but I hear that's what you do in high school. Way back. I smoked with high schoolers when I got out of the military. I had friends still in high school. I smoked out of when I was working for Papa John's. We smoked out of apples, smoked out of cans. Not really healthy. You don't want to be burning down aluminum. But so I closed that deal. Ended up in ended up in that hostel, Brighton Beach. So now I'm like working. Oh, my eyes will be fine. I'm working in 57th and Lexington, I think it is. Places that like so many memories in New York, just jobs from Greenpeace, from other stuff. So like and then now I'm walking all the streets. So that's why I love the city. You gotta walk in all the streets in Manhattan. You just learn it. I would tell my clients, I'm like, get off a subway stop or two early from your stop and just walk through the neighborhoods. That's how you learn to love the city. You just walk it. Feel the energy change from block to block. Feel the transition. Your avenues, people, the fucking businesses. Pay attention to the buildings. There's a reason why they built all these buildings different in each one of these neighborhoods. East Village was for the immigration around the turn of the 20th century. Those are tenement walk-ups. The West Village is a little bit older. That's why it's East. It was originally East Greenwich Village, and then they dropped it to East Village. Before that, it was the Lower East Side, from 14th all the way down to below Houston was the Lower East Side. But then went real estate, usually trying to sell the more expensive property as people start gentrifying those rundown neighborhoods. Got pushed out of the West Village and Greenwich Village. What started the West Village broke off from Greenwich Village because Greenwich Village was the Bohemians of the turn of the 20th century, as I've been told and what I've read. And so then you had the people in the West Village past 7th Avenue saying, we're not like those Bohemians around Greenwich, around Washington Square Park. We are the West Village. All of it, I think, was originally the Village, Greenwich Village. They're like, no, we're the West Village. And then once the prices got expensive, and then the Lower East Side was like, we're not the Lower East Side, we're the East Greenwich Village. Now just the East Village. So the Lower East Side was consigned to just below Houston. And then I would tell people, as you go up on the East Side, you have Gramercy. All the East Side neighborhoods would always fancy Gramercy, where It's famous to put like models and people coming into New York temporarily, or like, what is it, Murray Hill right above there. Bosom Buddies, I think, was located. Was it in Murray Hill? I say that. Some of the shit I say, and I've never really even fact checked. Murray Hill Bosom Buddies. But I'm like, why do people want to put their daughters always in Murray Hill? Oh, that's not true. Bosom Buddies neighborhood. See, this real estate people do this all the time. We just talk shit out of our ass because we heard something, and then we're like, After their own apartment is demolished, while they are still asleep in it, the two men disguise themselves as women in order to live in the dirt cheap Susan B. Anthony Hotel, which happens to be female only. Well, they should do a remake of this. But where is the Susan B. Anthony Hotel? Where was Bosom Buddies? Shaz, this is not the important thing that we should. Location, Manhattan. Bosom Buddies, a 1980 sitcom that faked NYC terribly. I was way off. See, Shaz, that's what you should check. That's why you're recording all your words. You have to be better with your word. Okay. It was filmed in California, but it's supposed to have taken place in... Anyways, I wonder about that. How many of fucking my real estate conversations I had just talking shit out my ass, and the person was just like nodding their head, and I'm just thinking, I'm like the best advisor ever. That's what. Another thing about correcting my word, I recognize that the real estate agents who would just talk, and I started off as that. And then you start to slow down, and you start to advise more and BS less. But when you first start, that's all you have is a fucking mouth. So you're just like, burr, 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 and I heard this, and I caught fucking Luis, the guy on $1 Million Listing. I would watch that show, $1 Million Listing, and me and my fucking friends would be like, oh, we're going to be $1 Million Listings. And then like he said how like Louis Armstrong came from Harlem, and I loved Louis Armstrong, and I have his autobiography. I haven't read it, but it was one of the fucking books in my house. And that motherfucker came from New Orleans. He was given his trumpet in a fucking halfway house for boys or something, some fucking home for fucking troubled youth, and that's how he learned his instrument. But there is no, other than being a jazz great, there is no fucking Harlem Louis Armstrong connection. I'm pretty fucking sure. And he must have heard it somewhere. He's a black man who plays fucking jazz. But when I heard that, and this guy's on the show, I'm like, and he's fucking doing $1 million properties. He embarrassed me. Not that maybe he shouldn't be embarrassed by it, but I get embarrassed. It's not embarrassment. It's that just correcting your word is a good thing to have in life. That's all this year is about. That's why I'm recording all this stuff. I'm not recording all this stuff because I think that everything that I say is worth listening to. It's because this is a tool. This is a tool to use pressured speech, just speaking at the front of your mind without much preparation to really get at what is at the front of your mind, the thoughts, and over time you can get the biases and the values and the character and fucking with doing these 6 hours a day for this week's going to be endurance. How do I speak and how do I act under pressure or stress or under, it's just pressure. I don't have pressure or stress, but it is somewhat of an energy consumption to speak. Anyways, where were we at? We have to get back to Daphne, and then we have to get back to the Greek Cabby. Fuck, we were up to the Greek Cabby. Fuck yeah. At the beginning of today, I was like, no way we're going to do 6 hours. That's a lot of hours. All right. So, and we're already 10 minutes. Look it. She has only 50 minutes more. This is so great. Enjoy it, Shaz, because this is the last time we'll be doing this. Are we gonna do? Maybe we'll do like a blog this year. I don't know. It depends on whether this is a sellable project. Am I gonna go back to real estate? I'm sure talking myself into it, aren't I? Nah. So what did I do? I have to explain a little bit. That's why we have so many fucking real estate documents, because I have to explain a little bit about my journey up the ladders of success in real estate. Got off the streets, staying in that hostel, and there's a lot of cute girls in the hostel, as hostels are known to have girls, run by some really sweet old Russian lady. And I really love that old Russian lady energy. No, that old lady energy. Like, I guess maybe like missing out on the grandma in my life. So I'm like, I just don't like people getting taken advantage of. And I love shady shit. I love I love these because they're not really hostels. They're just like, it's half tourists, half people like me. We're just trying to get by, and we're just trying to look for a cheap place. 25 bucks a night cash, no questions asked. So that's the type of place that's going to attract a certain type of person. So like me, because I'm trying to stack up. So like, if you figure it out, 25 bucks a night is like 750. You should be able to find a room for 400 or 500. So these are people on the cash flow economy on days or weeks at a time. And she let me float a little bit, and I always paid her back. But she started letting people float, where we're like, we'll get you at the end of the week, and then they weren't paying her and shit like that. Later on, I moved to another house she had. She had a couple of these hustles going, and everything in Brighton Beach is like Russian. Like, everyone knows each other, and like they all, I don't know if they're code, I don't know if they're not, but like the whole community runs itself. Like there's this there's this white kid who stayed at the other one once I moved to the other one. I have to figure out a linear way to tell these stories. But this is just to show you the community. He's smoking weed, and the fucking cops pick him up, and he's like, it was like there's Mexicans in the community. I guess I blended in more than him. He's from Sacramento, and he was in Russia, and then this fucking Russian dude with a lot of money, he had a degree in physics or something. He was a smart guy, but he was a wild guy too. I knew people from Sacramento from being in Santa Cruz. Sacramento has its own, like, what's the name? I had a friend from Lodi, Stockton, Sacramento. That whole Stockton shit is real. Like, it's a fucking rough area to grow up in. It's like, it's kind of like saying Compton or certain parts of LA. It's like, this guy grew up fucking in not a nice part of Sacramento. Fucking, so that's why we could stay at these hostels. He was a bit of a dork, but he was like, he was fucking, he was street smart. So he's smoking weed, and he's from California, so of course he smokes weed. Oh no, but so how he was there was that this Russian guy, he was in Russia visiting his girlfriend, and this Russian guy offered to fucking pay him to go to New York and tutor his son for multiple years, from ninth grade to 12th grade. And if his son gets into a top tier school, it didn't even have to be Ivy League, but just a top tier school, he would get a bonus. So he got like, however, I think 40, 50 grand a year. And then he told the guy, all right, but you're going to give me a car too. Because he always wanted like this type of car, like a fucking LA street car or something that you fucking, one of those things when you grow up broke, you're just like, it was like an Acura or some shit like that. I don't know cars that much, but it was like the type of cars that like people would drive around my neighborhood. 90s fucking street race. Anyways, he was like, he says, you have to get me this type of car. And the dude did it. So he was in fucking Brighton, and he was like trying to figure out how to get a place. So he was in between places, as people are in these types of hostels. Well, when I met him at the other hostel. So I went to this one hostel. I made friends with this, well, not friends, but I was fucking a legit person, where this lady trusted me enough. She let me go to her other one, which was more for longer term stays, where we were paying her 25 bucks a night daily. And that place was filled with like 12, 15 people consistently. But it's like backfire outside my window. But oh, so this kid, but this is just to say the neighborhood, and then I'll talk about that other hostel after this hostel. He's smoking weed outside, and the cops pick him up just to fuck with him. And he's like, what are you, and weed's about to be legalized in New York right now. So like, people, it's not supposed to be that big of a deal, even back then. This is like 2012 or 13. But it's just because he's kind of out of place. Like, if you're the fucking, if you're a white dude in a black neighborhood, you could get messed with sometimes, but poor is poor, so fucking people know you, they know you. But if you're fucking not Russian in certain parts of Brighton Beach that are really Russian, and the cops are bored, like with this guy, for some reason they wanted to fuck with him. So he was just standing outside the fucking place smoking a joint. It's not that big of a deal. But these cops rolled by and they fucking, he had an attitude with them, is what it was, because he was telling me that, like, I was fucking like, I was like, are you talking back? Because these guys are like, in that type of community, it's like there's New York police, which I've been fucked with plenty of times with New York police. I was in the subway riding my bike, not riding it, just standing on it rolling. So I was on the side of the pedal, but you're not supposed to ride it on the subway. And I was rolling instead of walking down this hill. And the cop stopped me and he's trying to talk to me. And I put my bike between me and him. And then he got two or three more around. And he's just like, why are you being so aggressive with me? And I was like, you're surrounding me with like three of your boys. What do you mean? Why am I being aggressive? Well, you're acting like I'm a fucking criminal. He's like, you're not supposed to be around. I'm like, what are we doing here? You gonna give me a ticket? Or are you gonna fucking act like you're gonna jump me? And then like one of them comes up behind me and says, I feel threatened, and cuffs me. They just fuck with me. I talked with them too much. And I fucking gave him too much attitude. Some guy was videotaping it. For everyone you see on the internet, there's like 100 more that people don't put on the internet. But fucking the guy comes behind me and says, I feel threatened. Just says that in my ear and puts the fucking my hands behind my back and cuffs me. Makes me sit on the bench while they write me the ticket for the fucking bike thing. I was just talking too much and they're like, well, let me. It's not like, not every time are you jumped or beat up by the cops. Sometimes you're just embarrassed. And that's all. And that's what these guys did to the dude smoking outside the fucking hostel. He's talked back too much. And they fucking said, all right, let's see how you like it spending the night in jail. And he said the whole night he was fucking grabbing the bars and yelling and screaming, and they were just calling him crazy white guy. And he said that he was like, they didn't give him anything. They didn't give him any charges. They just held him overnight and released him. Catch and release. And that's Brighton Beach. My experience is like, they run their own neighborhood. There's fucking the yeah, just neighborhoods in New York. It's just culturally, some of them are very dense with the culture, and you go along to get along and try to be respectful. I think, yeah, there's some Mexicans out there and some gang shit happening now, but most of it's Russian. I've been into um yes, what is it? Oh, so he said that they would drive by and they would see him on the street sometime and they would point and laugh at him. And he's like, these motherfuckers are just fucking with me. And I'm like, dude, you don't want to, like, they're just fucking with you, but like, I don't think they're not gonna like mess with you. Like, they're teasing you. But like, you gotta respect, this is their beat, this is their neighborhood. Everyone knows each other. They're probably local people who are now cops. Um, that's what this lady. So she was a hostel owner, but she was from the area, and she's an old lady. So she's like, it's not like she doesn't have family. So it's like fucking. That's why she ran these places. She had her little hustle going. So I traded with respect, paid her fucking on time. So a couple times I asked for credit, but also I did her a solid, is what it is. That's why she let me go to the other place, because I was in the hostel, which was great because I was like, always hitting on all the girls. So we got like a fucking girl from Azerbaijan, super skinny, fucking like a model, but way like not too skinny, but like she needed to eat. All she did was drink yogurt all day, that fucking kefir shit. And then like everyone has a story. It's like, does she have papers? Does she not have papers? Is she trying to fucking find a husband? Is she stripping, or is she just a cocktail waitress in a strip bar? I could never get a straight answer from her, and I would give like massages. Shaz is like, I had a little bit of real estate money. This is a couple weeks I'm living in these fucking hostels. And so I'd come in and I had that like fucking Caribbean swag now. I know tourists and hostels and shit. So there's this like blonde girl, and then there's that Azerbaijani, and then there's a fucking new one who comes from London. Um, and the blonde one we would talk about, actually we found out we were matched up on OkCupid like 95, 97%. We were huge. But she was too much ego. Me and her would argue sometimes. She worked for Pitchfork for one of those. So she was in between apartments. She had been, I think she had been assaulted on the street, some shit. I asked some questions and I fucking think upset her with my curiosity, just running my mouth, being too nosy and curious. But like, she had some sort of fucking story where I feel like I put my foot in my mouth. But I was still friends with everyone, but like I ruined the fucking, whatever could have happened with her. But we were all fucking like, we were broing out. And we would go down to the boardwalk, the Coney Island boardwalk down the street. So me, her, the Azerbaijani, and this other girl, and then like whatever other hostler were coming in. The Azerbaijani, I would give like the girls massages. I'd be like, because it's like, it's one when you're flirting with like groups of girls, it's like, you don't like, sometimes it's just like flirty. It's just like, oh, that's just, well, David back then, that's just David. Fucking, I was like, oh, who wants a massage? And then like if one girl accepts it, and then the other girl feels like it's a little less threatening, so she'll accept it. So it's like I'm not trying to get with any one of these girls. I'm just being that dude. I'm just being like, I'm just fucking out there. Um, Fucking leaving the bathroom in my towel and shit, and I'm kind of fit, so it's like, it is what it is. But like the Azerbaijani girl, I thought like I couldn't really get a vibe on her. I was like, is she innocent or should I like make a more of a move? Cause like with the fucking one that worked for Pitchfork is like, nah, she went to college and shit, and like I've already fucking been too rude that like she's like, it's that whole fucking like consent shit. I'm gonna have to fucking be very clear about my intentions, and she's gonna be like, it's something. It's not my type of girl. And then fucking Azerbaijani is like, is this the opposite where I have to be like more aggressive? But then I didn't know if she was super innocent. She acted like she had never kissed a guy. But then some of these girls from those types of cultures are like, they act like that with everyone, but like they're really freaks. So like I didn't want to corrupt her, but I didn't know if the way she looked at me, she wanted some corrupting. But she'd be like, oh, can you give me? I gave her some fucking massages, like not just a back massage, neck massage, butt massage, stupid shit. Where I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what are we? But but I kept it cool. This is like Shaz and his developmental experience with girls, and then so I thought the Pitchfork girl most intellectually we should have gotten together, but I ruined that by being insensitive. That's what it was. I could put it on her, but my mouth and my insensitivity to whatever situation she was currently in. But there's a reason why she was in there, in between apartments, and I don't think it was a happy story. It was a sad New York story. And then fucking the Azerbaijani girl was just like, there was a fucking X card. I didn't know if this girl was fucking, I don't know what the fuck was it. Why I knew she was in the country and legally, non-illegally, something. And then this girl comes from London, and she's smoking and drinking out front. And she's small and cute. She reminded me a lot of Addie, just like petite with a huge energy, like a fucking, just like a boss little girl. And fucking, I didn't even think she was fucking 18. She was like 22. And she was traveling from London, grew up on fucking, where'd she go? Muscle Hill or some shit. But she was like bartending since she was 16. She had tattoos that she had drawn herself, like really fucking nice, like just artistic, like creative, wild energy, and just like. So they're just drinking and smoking outside, and fucking all the British people I've met are very good at drinking, and so she was no exception. So I show up and I have my wild hair still, long hair, and I'm just talking with the dude she's with, and we catch enough information where I'm like, these aren't her. None of these guys are with her. She's traveling, but she's traveling alone. I'm like, all right. And she says, oh, I'm leaving this place. She was staying at the hostel right next to us. She was like, I'm leaving tomorrow. I don't know where to go. And I'm like, well, this lady's really cool. Fucking, I don't know if she's on the radar. She's a little hidden. When she doesn't need people, she doesn't really advertise. So I was like, I could put in a word for you. We might be able to get you a room over there. She's like, oh, that'd be awesome. So the next day I see her. She's now at my hostel. I'm like, all right, so things are working out. I'm trying to let her know I'm interested. I'm like, here, you can share this room. I'm in this room. I tell her she could get in the room with me, and it's only like 2 beds in there, just me and her. She's kind of open to it, maybe, but it's taken a couple days. I think she's staying in the girls' room. That's what it is. There's a girls' room, there's a guys' room, and then there's these mixed rooms. So I don't remember how I did it, but I did kind of make my intentions known, like. But she also, because I was like being sweet with the girls, flirty, but like not crossing the line. Like, other than sticking my foot in my mouth with the blonde haired girl, but we were still all very cool. She still accepted my massages, and we kept a good vibe. That's what it is. It's like, if you hit on someone too much, you ruin the vibe. The vibe's more important than your sexual conquest, because that's what it is. Like, have perspective on life. Like, sex comes and goes, but relationships and people open up. Not even for it to be like opening up doors, like you're getting something out of it. It's just people are important, and like the sex and the other stuff will happen. And this was like a good affirmation of that. The British girl who I actually really connected with kind of asked around about me, like, what's up with this dude? He keeps trying to fucking get me in this like private room with him and telling me that we should share those beds. And they're like, no, no, he's mostly harmless. He's just that's David. He hits on everyone. And I'm like, yeah, well, mostly harmless. So she said they were, because she told me later we had a thing. She's like, they said you're sweet. They vouched for you. I was like, that's cool. That's important to societies and in life in general. Character rises to the top. But also part of it was there's this older guy who came through that hostel, in his 40s maybe, but big, hefty Australian, another heavy drinking culture. And he was just a fucking asshat. He came in just ready and rowdy, and he put his fucking wallet in the freezer for some reason. He was just an alcoholic. It's like he decided he was going to go on a bender, and he came back, and he was just fucking shit-faced. Couldn't fucking... Yeah, he put his wallet in the freezer instead of the fucking room because he thought the room was going to be robbed. I don't know what he was doing. All I know is when he came home one night, and I got this like protective energy on Occupy Wall Street, I would walk around the park, and the de-escalation team, certain people are like the lookout type personalities. And these are all my homies now. I got the fucking 3 girls who are my homies, or 2 girls, I think. There might have been another girl that we were friends with. Yeah. There was like this black girl who was like fucking working at some job, and she was looking for a place every now. But the 2 girls, the blonde and the Azerbaijani, I think that's a country, Azerbaijan. Where I say that because we went to a bar once and it was owned by an Azerbaijani, and we were like, oh, she is, and we fucking, she was like royalty that night. Yeah, we went out dancing and shit, and we would do other stuff. And the blonde girl, she found since I started hooking up with a London girl, and me and her, I thought intellectually should have done something. So there's this guy who was Moroccan who came through, and one day I come to the hostel after work, and I see them both in the bed together, and like she's in her bra and he has no shirt on, like, so that's like maybe post coital or some shit, but like we had all gone to. That's where it's like knowing how everything's gonna settle out. It's like if you aggressively hit on every single girl, you're gonna ruin the balance. But everyone ends up with who they're supposed to end up with. It was like some high school shit. It was really cute. It was a nice little social scene and a break from, like, it was a nice, before I got my own apartment and did other stuff. Those hostel times were like really, they're just what I loved about like tourist life in Puerto Rico. Just strangers coming together and creating connections. And hookup is like in the air, but in a subtle way to allow the pieces to fall where they fall. So like the blonde girl got her little fucking travel guy who came and left, and they were super cute. And it wasn't even acknowledged. Later on I was like, you're kind of getting with so and so, aren't you? She was like, she kind of like blushed, and I was like, yeah, I saw you guys in the room the other day. And I was open about the London girl when she came in. I was like, I told the other girls, I was like, I'm kind of like really into this girl. If y'all can help me out a little bit. And so they did me that solid and kind of vouched for me. And but this Australian dude comes in before me and the London girl. It took us like a week or something to like actually like figure out that's what the dance is. It's like I have to show her I'm not a fucking geek and shit. Like you gotta be like chill. You gotta be like, all right, I'm showing my interest and my intentions. She's doing her due diligence. She doesn't know me from fucking, as they would say, from Adam or whatever. But so this in between during that week, this Australian dude's fucking shit face comes home, and I'm just like at the kitchen table, and the kitchen's in between the guy's side and the girl's side. The girl's side's on the other side of the apartment. And I'm just like in my mind, I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking go to sleep tonight. I'm gonna have to watch this dude because his fucking mind's not right. And sure enough, fucking he comes out of his room at like, we're all talking and people go to bed. We'd be talking and doing shit. I think I had a laptop at the time doing my ads and shit. And then the girls went to bed. And then the fucking Australian comes out. Or no, the girls were still up. And he comes out of his room with his shirt on, with no pants. And you can just see his fucking dick flying around. And I'm like, I stand up and I walk him back to his room. I was like, no, I knew something like this was going to happen. I saw it in his eyes. That's fucking old crazy man. I've seen it. He gave me the same vibe that this guy, I didn't tell this story. This is an important story. In Puerto Rico, during the time of the break in real estate, I'd have to look this up. I could look it up historically. Israel was about to go to war. And this guy said he was an officer in the Israeli military. And he came down to Puerto Rico and he said, I'm just fucking on vacation before I go to war. And I think shortly after he said that, I'd look it up. So if it's not, then it's one of these military excursions that Israel had into Palestinian territory or something. But this guy was like, I'm in the Caribbean just to blow some steam, and I got a shitload of drugs. And he was like, I'm probably that dude now in my 30s. But back then, fucking, I was just like, this man's a wild man. I didn't do the drugs that fucking this guy did. I mean, I probably, yeah, when I go down to Puerto Rico now, sometimes when I'm fucking being crazy, like, I guess I know, but that guy was like wild. But like, he was like, so I was like his fixer. I was like trying to fucking get by and get some money. So I was like, whatever, a tourist, I'm gonna probably, I'll rage it with him and hopefully he'll leave me with a couple bucks by the end. If not, he'll at least pay for the bar tab and the fucking food that we have. So I was just planning on drinking, and I was like, I'll show you around the island, man. You just pick up the tab. He was like, that's all I need. I was like, you got it. It's just we know brokering is a fucking brokering 101. So I go and we get him a scooter and fucking, but like, I should have paid more attention to the drugs he was doing. He dropped like Molly, and then he dropped acid, and then I'm on the back of the scooter with him, and we're riding from one side of the. We're close. We're just hitting bars. It's fucking like 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon. Just fucking, I could drink and fucking eat with the best of them. I'm not taking the drugs he's taking. But I'm on the back of the scooter holding on to him, and he's going like 70 from one side of the island to the other. And I'm realizing that like this dude is on acid and like Molly and who knows what else. But those are the two that I saw him take. On top of like, it's not smart to be drunk and do this shit. And these scooters, I dropped one. Oh, I didn't mention that. When I was in Puerto Rico, I laid down one of those scooters. I rented a scooter, and I was going like 30 or 40, fucking with like a friend, and he was in the truck, and I was in the oncoming lane. Just stupid shit you do. When I did the same thing with the car and fucking spun it out, and you want to tone down that death drive as a young man. But oncoming traffic coming, we were coming around the turn, oncoming traffic, so I ditched it into the dirt. And those scooters, as soon as you hit the dirt, they go out from under you. Someone explained it to me. On a motorcycle, the fork is like that. On a scooter, the fork is a lot steeper, so it's easier to fucking tip over. When the fork is laying down more, you have a lot more stability. But when it's upright more, that plus the tires don't have as much traction on the side wall, and just a bunch of reasons why the scooter is just a lot less stable as soon as you hit the dirt. So I was going like 30, fucking hit the dirt, went flying, fucking luckily landed on my side and just kind of scraped up my side and my ass. But I had like a baseball size fucking knot on my ass. I had to pay the guy like $500. I took it to the scooter guy. He was like, tell me why I shouldn't call the cops right now. I was like, look it, dude, I live here. I work for so-and-so. Just tell me how much and I'll pay, but just give me like a week or two. I have a job. And call so-and-so. And I think he called my boss. And he was like, he was going to call the cops. He was like, nah, dude, you're fucking, I don't think I had a deposit or some shit. I didn't have the money for it. But I paid him back. That's how your character gets known. I fucked up, I'll pay it back. I fucked up someone's car before, I paid it back. Shit like that. It's a small community. People quickly find out what type of person you are, and kind of a maybe irresponsible person, but try to fucking wild man, crazy hair, don't wear shoes. But drives that busted ass truck where I had to fucking hold the truck door closed with my arm. The door would swing open. It was a F-150, F-250 lifted truck on swamper tires I bought for like $850 from a family. And fucking the rain would get in the roof. We had a gas tank behind the fucking driver's seat because it didn't have a gas gauge, so I had to guess how much gas to put in it. So sometimes I would forget or I would not estimate properly, and that's why I always kept gas in the back. And if I didn't keep gas in the back, then I'm fucking walking from wherever I'm at. And then the door would swing open and I'd have to fucking grab it. And so when I drove my arm out the door, holding the door in. Because otherwise, and when I went around wide turns, the door would swing open and I'd just slam the door shut. I would put a tarp over it when it rained, but otherwise the rain would just come in. It was an island truck. It was all Mickey Mouse. A bigger engine was put into it than they could fucking handle. Somehow, I knew the mechanic who did it, and he wasn't a classically trained mechanic, or however you say. He was a self-taught dude, so he Mickey Mouse this thing with a bigger engine than it could handle. It was an F-150, 250 body. It was like a big fucking body, big enough, but like, I forgot what it had in there. It had like probably a Chevy engine or something. But then he had to run the fuel lines in funny ways to fucking jerry-rig it. So like, someone told me, they're like, you leaking fuel from your fuel lines over your spark plugs isn't a good idea, or some shit. They just told me it was a huge fucking hazard. You could always smell fuel in that thing. But yeah, we'll get to Daphne. We got 25 minutes. So I'm in the hostels though, and Oh no, that Israeli guy is what I was bringing up. And then he eventually got 86 from the bars we were at because I got so shit faced. I wasn't even. It was like 8 o'clock, and I was just like done. I didn't do the drugs. I just fed me twice, and then I was just ordering my fucking favorite drinks. It's like I always just drank beer and cheap shit. But with this guy buying, I got to like fucking get all the fancy shit from the fancy bars that I was like. Instead of drinking Medallas for $1.50, I could actually get fancy shit. So Medallas is like their Budweiser. So this Israeli guy is just on one, and he's, oh, that's what we were going to talk about, the hostel thing, and he reminded me of that one dude. You could just tell when someone's like traveling and just wants to be a belligerent asshole. And so I took him to a couple bars on the other side of the island. But after a while, I told people, I was like, they're like, hey, what's up with your friend? Because he's just being loud and stupid. Well, he's on fucking drugs. He's doing the Hunter S. Thompson. And fucking, who didn't really do the drugs that he did after I read that fucking book? I was like, you know, that's dangerous to claim that you do drugs that you don't, because now you're inspiring a whole generation of people and you're not really speaking about the responsibilities or the consequences of your actions because you don't know what they are. Live whatever life you want to live, but then honestly represent it so that way you can honestly represent the consequences of your actions. But when you just monetize or commodify, commercialize a lifestyle based off not your experiences. That's what I thought about Drake doing the brown face fucking Coke Boys thing. Uh, it's dangerous to talk about stuff that you haven't actually done because there's benefits and negatives to everything, and you won't honestly describe the negatives to warn other people. There's negatives to doing a shitload of drugs. That's why like I guess one of the reasons I did heroin is to try it out. I wanted to get my first-hand experience on that drug. It's influenced my life so much through people I've known. It's like, I think it's fucking time for me to get that experience. I do not recommend it because it's so powerful. So I think I have a very strong mind, and it's a very strong drug. It's like cocaine. I don't recommend cocaine. I don't know. That's a hard one. That's just strong coffee. But if you just know yourself. Like I know myself. It's not something I could keep around because I would abuse it. I can't not stop drinking coffee. I drink coffee every morning. I can, and I probably will. But as far as it's not something I want to go through right now. I don't want to go through coffee withdrawals right now while I'm writing and doing this other shit. But there'll be a time, just like I stopped weed. Weed is so fucking easy to put down. Like weed wouldn't affect. It's like 1-2 days of, oh, I wish I was stoned right now. But like coffee, I'd fucking have headaches, this and that. So cocaine's only worse. And heroin is just fucking like, I can imagine a lot. Well, I don't have to imagine. I've seen people. I've seen what happens when you go through it. I've been through a couple friends doing that shit. So yeah. Anyways, that was the Hunter S. Thompson fucking rant. Talking about drugs. He made me want to fucking do ether. The way he talks about ether, it's like he's just fucking. That's fucking dangerous. That's why you shouldn't have heroes. You should try to make your own mind, think for yourself. Now, I've never really wanted to do drugs because other people did them, but I don't know what bugs me so much to know that most of that stuff was made up. Because I know a lot of people who fucking looked up to him. But then that's their own fault. If they would have looked up to someone anyways. If it wasn't him, it was something else. You should live your own life. So those people are just fucking living echoes of other people's lives anyways. That's their problem, not the fact that Hunter lied. But anyways, this fucking Israeli was like all one. And the fucking they're like, what's up with your friend? I was like, he's not my friend, dude. He's just paying for my tab. If you want to kick him out, go ahead. And that's what they did. I was like, I had to cut ties with them. I was like, you're making me look bad, dude. I was like, he's just fucking paying for my shit. I don't know what his problem is. So he got 86 from all the places, but they're like, it's not you. They made sure to fucking be like, we don't blame you because they've seen all that tourist shit. And I ended up just napping off my drunk on the beach and then coming back to the bar later on that night like, oh, that was a fucking crazy. And then in my mind, I'm mentally like, be more careful about the company I keep. So this guy, Australian in this hostel, was acting like that. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I have to read Daphne's poetry, though. I have to give myself enough time to read her poetry. He was like, so I was like, fucking, you're going to bed, man. Don't come out of that room again. Because I was really protective. of the girls, of my friends. And he came out of the room again, and I sat him at the kitchen table. I was like, "You're gonna have to sober up, dude," and start getting him water. He's trying to talk to me this and that, and I'm just like shutting down all the bullshit. I was like, "Nah, dude, you're gonna have to." He was like, he's kind of wanting to go to the girls' room, kind of looking over there. He came over to the kitchen. I was like, "Dude, you're gonna sober up, and then you're gonna get the fuck out of here in the morning. And if you act stupid, you'll get the fuck out of here right now. I'll throw you down those stairs. You got to walk up a flight to get up there." He was like, blah, blah, blah. So I just looked him in the eyes. I was like, "I will throw you down those fucking stairs, dude. This is just, you got to like, kind of like, let people know you're serious." Like, "No, we're being very nice and very calm. But it's because we have this or we have the other option." And then he just wandered back to his bedroom and wandered back out. And I just stayed at the kitchen table like a little watchdog. And once the sun was up, and I felt like I was just trying to be even-handed. Enough time passed. And we got his shit, and I was like, "You gotta leave." He was like, "No, no, I paid, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "No, dude, you're getting the fuck out." He was like, "Oh, the landlady, blah." I was like, "No, dude, this is a judgment call on my behalf. People like you are gonna fuck up her business," because it was like Airbnb and stuff. And then after he left, like I just had to kind of like walk him downstairs. "No, this is what's happening, and you're gonna sort out your life from the front step on. We're done." That's it. Well, you walk out of your room with the fucking your pants out, and there's like a bunch of girls in the hostel. It's like, "No, we're done, dude. We'll have a conversation." Separated parties. The first time I had to throw someone out of a hostel, right? And so I told the landlady afterwards. I was like, "Look, this is what happened with the dude. It's a liability on your part. I had to do that. I'm sorry." She was like, "No, no." She was only thankful. "No, thank you, thank you." I was like, "Yeah, when you run a place like this, you need someone willing to throw people out. So like, that's a little liability on her end." And later on, we had at her other place she ran that she let me stay at, she had a big guy, a part of the family member, a white guy, but like he was like an Italian. He fucking is. I don't know about all of his character, but a lot of aspects of that dude is I could wish like when I'm in my 50s. He was in his 50s going bald, but this guy was yoked. This guy was like fucking who Jason Statham in his prime was this dude. He worked out every day. He was huge, 6'2", shoulders like a fucking two other fucking heads. Like he had this head and then a head and a head, like just a. He would go down to the beach and swim in the ocean every single morning. I was like, "You're gonna be doing this through the winter too?" He was like, "It's warmer than the outside in the winter. You go in and it fucking warms you up." It was a beast. He had like a little fucking like girlfriend in her 30s, a little Asian girl he would brag about. He was just a fucking, he was a bull of a man, a fucking, and respected his physical. Now he was simple, and that's why he had this job. He was a family in-law to the Russian lady, but she didn't need my advice. She knows how to do shit. I was like, when you have people like this, you need to be able to have people throw them out. That other house started to have issues, and then I watched him throw one of those people out. Like literally, I was hearing the argument outside. I was about to leave my room because I was about to try to de-escalate. I was like, I heard the fucking some like Eastern European dudes being like, "You can't talk to me like that." And then I was about to step out. I was like, "Oh shit, they're giving that dude lip." Not that I think he needed to be backed up. I was gonna be like, try to tell the dude who I knew. And also, I felt guilty because we were smoking and drinking, and the dude was like, "Don't smoke and drink in here." And we were all breaking the rules, but we all went to bed early. And the fucking dumbasses, we knew the guy was at his girlfriend's house. And we were like breaking the rules, being stupid. But then we were like, I respected the fuck out of this dude. I was like, "I'm going to bed, dude. You guys need to go to the bed. This dude's not staying out all night." Like, they're like, "Oh, don't worry about him. You shouldn't be scared of him." I was like, "Nah, I know what type of dude this is. I can recognize it." And fucking, I heard it. I heard him come home. I was like, "Fuck." It's like, "Dad's home." And then I heard the guys were drunk by now. And I was like, "You can't talk to us like that. We have rights." And then I heard a body hit a fucking wall. I heard a boom. I was like, "Ah, shit, he just threw that dude against the wall." And they're just like, I'm calling the cops. He's like, "Call him. I'm getting your shit." And then I fucking poked my head out the door. And sure enough, he just grabbed the shit and threw it out. Cops came and they all know each other. They know the family. He's like, "I just threw these guys out. They broke the rules. They know the rules. That's why I'm here." He's like, "That's why I'm here." And once that guy gets self-right, that's the energy that's not me. I'm very chill, but like I'll like do what I think has to be done. But this dude was a fucking bull. Once you got him up, he didn't come down for fucking 3 hours. He was up. He was like, "That's why I'm here. That's why I'm fucking here." It's like, I'm here to throw people out, like physically, like pick you up. And I was like, "Oh shit," I get heated just thinking about it. Fucking. But that lady didn't have that dude back then, so I had to like do my best. Like, hey, dude, get the fuck out. And then I guess that also probably, I think maybe I did that before the London girl, and so she like. But anyways, I was a good addition to our little hostel family. And then the London girl and I had a great fucking. I didn't treat her right. But that was later on. I mean, she was coming from London. We watched a movie in bed together, and that's when we first started making out and first started our little thing, and we had such a good physical connection. That one really helped me to get over Addie. It's like that was just like it was just yeah. I didn't treat her right because we didn't. She was young. That's what like yeah. I was well. No, that's not it. It's I was young. I was. She probably had more experience than me. I was. What was wrong with her? I mean, anyway, she was there for a little bit, and I just made some money that month. It was like September. I told her let's go to California. She was like, what? I was like, how long are you still in the States? She was like, it was like 2 weeks. So let's go to California for a week. I'll go visit my folks. I got some cash in my pocket. I never save. So I spent the fucking money on the plane tickets, and maybe she bought her plane ticket. But I paid for everything when we got out there. Rented a car, visited my folks, drove up to San Francisco, and then we flew out of San Francisco, and along the way we'd stop, we'd go have sex on the ocean, or on the beach, on the sand dunes, have sex in the car, pull over, side of the road, fucking have sex in that was our thing in the hostel. Have sex in the shower. She was small, so you could pick her up, and we're like little rabbits. Sometimes you need that in life just to have that like pure physical. But I didn't respect her, I guess. I didn't respect, like, I thought, oh, she's just a young little, like, bunny, but I didn't. And then she went back to London, and then that's a whole nother story. But that'll happen in one of these other Puerto Rico stories, or one of these other real estate stories. So after she went to London, we kept in contact, and then we tried to connect back twice. Once she came out to New York, or once she went to Puerto Rico and we met up, and then once she came out to New York. And both times I kind of fucked it up. But we'll talk about that when those times come. But that time, when we went to California, was good. The first time was good, which is why I got 2 more chances. And then the 2 more chances I fucked it up. So that's not a girl I could have settled down with because I never made it that far, because a girl of quality will cut your bullshit quick. And she was a quality girl. She's still friends with my mom on Facebook. My mom was like, she's dating some guy in like Australia. I'm like, that's great. She always wanted to surf, and she loved the ocean. That's why me and her connected, me and that Puerto Rican shit. And I was telling her, like, she kayaked and she did lacrosse. She was super fit, super into fucking athletics, but also artistic, and also like badass fucking, I think it's South London where the fucking, wherever the grungy shit is the shit that she was all involved in. And we had that first time we had connected was the best run. And then we went to California. That was like just one of those like little, like, relationships are what they are. And and then we tried to relive that magic 2 more times when she came out to, we both met up in Puerto Rico, and then when we both met up in New York, and both times I had a lot of stuff in my head. Doing the real estate, I still had all that politics in the back of my head. Like, I didn't take people seriously. I didn't take my job seriously. I was making money, but then it was like kind of cynical. And then like she had like a corporate job, so I didn't really take her seriously. It was just like a fuck thing. But like looking back, like you realize how important these people are in your life, and how like, yeah, it was like mostly physical, but I meant more to her and she meant more to me than I let on at the time. Sometimes you act like aloof, thinking like that's cool. Maybe when you're younger, and that's not. I miss her. She was a very good person. That's what it is that when I look back, I think I could have done a lot of things better, and I don't have any complaints about her. I think she was very understanding and tolerant, and adventurous, and she just like, why not? Let's go to California. And we just had all those great adventures, all those great memories. And physically, that means something. When you have really good sex with someone, and there's a physical connection where you're just like monkeys, and you're just like, you can't wait to jump on each other. You don't have that with everyone. That means something. That's not, That was that girl that I was gonna go visit in Seattle. It's like I've had like hookups and other stuff, but like when like there's a connection beyond words, and it might be hair pheromones or energy or whatever. But like the words and the actions got in the way. But physically, we were like how soulmates is funny, but like we fit really well. Like when we would sleep together and when we were with and even her smell, I could like smell her, like the memory of her smell is like fucking nuts. Like, oh, my heart hurts. It's fucking, yeah. That's what, heartbreak is only replaced by other heartbreak. Like I never had that with Addie, and that's why I can't miss her like that. I can only be like, it was my youth, my love, but then once you have these types of things, it's like, no, this is what love is having and losing. Love isn't pining. That's selfish, childish desire. Love is having and losing. Love is being a dumbass. And because you're so egotistical, it's like, how often do you admit that you're a dumbass in life? It's like I admit I'm a dumbass in at the altar of love. Like I'm a dumbass because I respect what we had. Like I know that had potential for something really great, and that's why I'm a dumbass, because I didn't value it. But it's okay because I had other stuff afterwards, and but she yeah, and that's that selfless love. I hope she's happy, and my mom keeps me updated on her life, but I don't do that Facebook shit. Yeah, I'll talk about her later on those other 2 trips. So Daphne, let's read Daphne's poem. Daphne's a poet that I met in Puerto Rico. Fucking took her out once to fucking go snorkeling. Always kind of hit on her on the side. She always kind of pushed me off. She was young, but like, by the time I met her, I'd been doing real estate, and I would have these times where I had money, and I was like, all right, time to fucking do something crazy. So let's go to Puerto Rico. So I had like 3 or 4 Puerto Rico trips. So Daphne had moved down to the island. So she didn't know me, but I knew people that she knew because I'd lived there for a while. And now she's not on the island, one of these who lived there for a couple years and then got it out of her system. Or maybe she really fucking fell in love with it. So obviously 2014. But she's someone where she says she's a poet, and I'm like, well, tell me some poetry then. And then she tells me, and I'm like, fuck yeah, that's what it is. That's what I respect. And people I knew were like, oh, she's silly, or she's full of herself, or I don't like how she talks, or blah, blah, blah. It's like, don't be catty. Like, that woman is an artist. Like, she is who she says she is. Everything else, and that's why I try to respect, and that's why I put her in this. It's like, it wasn't about like, yeah, like she's cute, and I hit on her, and she had like a body that would break your neck. She just had like just a fucking like, it's like a fucking fruit so juicy, like it drop off the tree on its own accord. It was just like, she was ridiculous. Like, I don't know, maybe I have a picture of her somewhere, fucking, but but it was her spirit, and that's why I respected her. Like, it was a little teasing, like, oh, we should get down, or like, you know, we're I don't know, however fucking I do it, but it was more about this, and that's why I took pictures of it. When she was like, she read me her poetry, I was like, let me take some pictures of that. And it's not that she's the best poet in the world, but that she's working on it. I see a young person doing what I did, and that's why I would tell her, I'm just paying it forward. It's like, it's not about me. I'm not trying to fucking conquest you, which is like some of her poetry here. I'm trying to be like, recognize that young artist. Like, this is like, what did I do in these earlier videos, reading my poetry, and I'm just like, put it away, keep creating, put it away. And when you're ready, you're ready. I don't know when your voice is going to come, now, later, whatever, but it'll come if you keep working on it. So let's read her. I have made a fool of you and your seductions. Your hips swing like a pendulum when you walk, and all the women crawl and beg you to please star in their petty dramas, if only as a guest. I wish my sex would learn better to be patient and accept what is gifted, deny any expectations, hold tight to what is expendable, and be generous only with their minds. I am forging patterns in the dust, intricate yet predictable crop circles. I love only to conquer the pride in a man, allured by arrogance, which I will dissolve like warm honey on my tongue and then feed it back to you in spoonfuls and watch it dribble down your stubbled chin, knowing who is mounting who as you thrash upon me in bed. I can only smile to myself and die my little death, one step ahead. So she's playing that whole ego dance with love and being a young woman and being pursued and being like, who's pursuing who though? And
And that's some of these girls that I realize I'm attracted to is like sometimes, and that's maybe why the ones I'm going for now have peace and we're working on ego, because I notice that that gets in the way of romance. Is that whole like some people think, yeah, like I'm a king and I need my queen. Like I believe that with the whole, yeah, believe in yourself and have confidence, but I'm looking for peace. I'm looking for self-contentment and not love is not a competition. So, but that's why some of this I just smirk, but I'm like it's more the spirit. I love the spirit. Um, I'm stumbling into something remote and spectacular. Must slow myself down and remember to breathe. Not panic. Remember that I am loved on some thick continent and I love, am thinking of and am thought of, cherished. I am blossoming in someone's memory and sustaining them with the smile that comes to their face when they think of me. My absence will water the flower of me in their mind, and it will grow more beautiful, more vibrant than reality. Though what is real if not perception? This is my obligation to others. I must touch lives as frequently and as passionate as my own fragile existence is touched, manipulated, with such power and fervor that I can only surrender and bask in pleasure and wonder and gratitude. Let the currents pull me under and marvel at the gray area between pride, gray area between pain and pleasure, enjoying the two indiscriminately, if only for the fact that they remind me I am alive, I am loved, I am wanted here. Why else would I be deposited so delicately, so deliberately? I must greet each day with an urgent kiss on the face and ask, what will you have with me today? What new treasure will you reveal? Take me, take me, take me. I am yours. I'm not alone. The world and I, we belong to each other. She's making sense of her life and herself as she falls in love with that same geographic area I fell in love with. That's what I recognized in her. She fell in love with the island, and that's why I told her, I was like, don't take me too seriously. I'm not. I mean, the door's always open with a guy like me, but I recognize a lot of your view. It's not like this is the best or perfect poetry. It's sincere though. This is her, and when I read it, I get more from it, and I learn. I learn from take me, take me, take me. I'm yours. I'm not alone. The world and I, we belong together. Why the fuck wouldn't you want to start each day with that type of idea? She was the real thing, and yeah, poetry is to be read out loud. I've always believed that. Well, after college, when I started getting into it, that's when I had the teacher who read really well. I was like, yeah, it's an oral, and then you look up the history of it, oral tradition, long before writing, poetry, and so the poets love to read. Not that we think we're the best at it, but that like when I write, I read. While I write, listen to the words. Even when you're reading and silently to yourself, your mind is voicing the words. But yeah, that's female energy. I never partook in physically, but I still benefited from. I don't even think she considers us friends. Maybe she does. Sometimes I bug people with the way I come off, but I'd like to think that she knows I was sincere, and I recognize the sincerity in her. We hung out in New York a little bit too. Just sometimes I'm good at not sexualizing friendships, and then sometimes probably this is one of the ones where that probably got in the way of the friendship. If I hadn't continually tried to push it towards that door, we could have probably blossomed a better friendship. But then sometimes I do that for my own self-interest too. Because if I like the girl, or I don't want to be a friend with something over my head, and if I can't be a friend platonically, then it's either the relationship or nothing. But that's where you just try to grow as a person, try to chill out, and sometimes that takes more girls and more satiation, and then you're like, all right, I've had enough stories and to be friends with girls, or I at least understand that there's more fish out there to be had for that I don't have to try to eat this fish. Something. I'm still learning. The Shaz is still learning. But we are done for today, and we did our 6 hours. And for that, I commend you, Shaz. Until tomorrow.